Welcome to the MC Sports Report. You know, you've seen MC Sports. Now we're taking a look around the sports world. I'm your host, Kolstin Diven, and we're going to start out here. SEC action. Ole Miss is coming off a loss to Georgia in a tight one, 3-point game. They got an 8-point win to stay in the top 7, 34-26. It was Oklahoma coming back in the second half, but they weren't able to get the job done. 9-0. A point differential for the Rebels in an 8-point win.
John Mateer, obviously, heading into the first couple of weeks, has been one of the Heisman favorites. As we take a look at his stats here, 17 touchdown. Where does that rank? And is he on pace to still possibly be the Heisman coming off an injury?
I just think with this Oklahoma team, they're 18th in the nation. Now they're 6-2. You got to maybe win out, even to have maybe a chance at Heisman, because usually the Heisman goes to like a winning team, just like a Georgia or a Bama as of right now. It goes to that top-tier team. Not saying 6-2 is bad, because it's not. But it's not. If they lose maybe just one more game, they're out of the playoff race, and I think it's going to lose them their spot in the college football playoffs. So they're going to need to win out, and Oklahoma has a tough schedule, so we'll see how that shakes out. As of right now, I think he definitely can be in the race, but he's going to need to put up some stellar performances. We're going to stay in SEC action. This was a low-scoring one at 12 o'clock. Vanderbilt is top 9 for the first time since 1942. They took it over the Tigers 17-13. I think the key thing here in this game is that Buford got hurt. As you can see, Matt Zollers, the backup, was the main quarterback in this game. And neither quarterback played great in a gritty defensive battle. But Vanderbilt at home came out on top, and Missouri is just like Oklahoma. 2 losses, one of them at least an SEC play. We'll see if they can have a chance here at playoff action.
Kolstin, heading into this game, according to College Game Day, Diego Pavia was 4th in the Heisman running. This is a very down performance, especially for a guy who's top 5 in Heisman performance.
I just think, I'm going to be real, I don't think Vanderbilt has had that really impressive win. They are 7-1. They're top 10 in the nation. But I feel like, from what I've seen, they're going to get to the playoffs, and they're going to get smacked. Because they're a great defense, but 17 points against Missouri, especially when Bama was going to town with them, just for instance. Obviously, Vandy did lose to Bama. That's their one loss. But it's just going to be, that's the main thing. You need to win against the big game, like a Georgia or a Bama. And Vandy hasn't done that. Obviously, Missouri is a good school. Top 25, only 2 losses. But, they lost their quarterback for this game, and they only won by 7. So I feel like that's going to be, a key theme. Can Vandy, obviously, top 10 in the nation for the first time since 1942. Top 9, excuse me. That is great, obviously, for the program. But the main thing is that can they keep this winning streak alive? Because you know how Vandy is. They're used to losing, just regular games. And obviously in the top 10, now the pressure's on. Can you stay in that playoff spot? We'll see how it shakes out for Vandy. Next up, this is the one I watched. BYU is top 10, and they're staying in the top 10. This one was looking scary. Iowa up 17-7 after one quarter. After that, BYU outscored them 34-10 to win 41-27. Rocco, very iffy performance. 1 touchdown, 3 picks. That could cost them, as they now have a 3rd loss on the year. This Iowa team, I believe, top 10 at one point. They are unranked and likely out of the college football playoff race. BYU, up and coming, 8-0, number 10 in the nation.
BYU right now the Big 12 favorite?
I'm going to be honest. I've been, doubting BYU so far. Like, they had that Utah game that was pretty close. They've had a couple comebacks. I think they are. I'm going to be honest. This BYU team keeps showing resilience. They keep showing, they can win these games from behind, which obviously, eventually, if you keep playing from behind, one team is going to catch you off guard and they're going to get that win. But as of right now, there's no reason to doubt the Cougars. They've played great. They're 8-0, top 10 in the nation, and I believe, as of right now, unless proven otherwise, this is the team to beat in the Big 12 in a very open conference. So we'll see how that shakes out. Next up, this was for possibly a playoff spot. My Boise State lost to South Florida, so I'm very happy with this Memphis win. I picked Memphis to win this one, and they did, 34-31. The key difference here, 4th quarter, Memphis 17-0 point differential. In a game they won by 3, no points in the 4th quarter for South Florida. was the difference. I believe Memphis also, that field goal in the third quarter also came by them, so they had a 20-0 run to end the game. I think Memphis is maybe the sneakiest team in the entirety of college football. 7-1, back in the top 25, or maybe for the first time. I'm not entirely sure, but 7-1 is, a great team. They beat some teams like Arkansas, obviously an SEC school. No matter who it is, doesn't matter who it is. They are a great school. They are a football school. And they got the win over them, and now they're getting a chance. They are the favorite to make as a Power 5 team in the playoffs. They just need to hold on to that. I believe number 2 is still South Florida or maybe Navy. We'll talk about that later. Next up here is going to be a close one. Once again, this one went to overtime. Virginia, I saw the end of this one against Belichick's Tar Heels, 17-16. Once again, a defensive battle. And Belichick here, what I like to see, obviously Virginia did not play well, but they're 7-1, 15th in the nation. They're a shaky school so far, despite playing in the ACC, a 1-point win over North Carolina. What I like from Belichick, his team is now 2-5, headed into this game 2-4. He went for the win in overtime. I don't know if you saw that. It was, 17-16 as he went for 2. Wasn't able to get it on the sideline to win the game. Because if you win this game for North Carolina, Virginia is likely out of the playoffs. So that's, a heartbreaker for the Tar Heels at home, especially with the season that's not gone to plan. But, Virginia, once again, showing they can win another game. I think they're also very shaky at 7-1, despite, being top 15 in the nation. But if they just keep winning these games, getting these upsets, this one obviously not, but if they can keep getting these wins against key opponents ACC play, they definitely have a shot at the playoffs.
Now, Kolstin, I know this is kind of a random question, but do you think UNC is the best 2-5 team in the country? When you just look at their roster and their head coach, under Bill Belichick.
I just think this year, I don't think they are. They're not a great team, obviously, at 2-5. I think they're a very sneaky team. They can probably upset a couple of these ACC opponents. But do I think maybe they're favored to win any of these games? Probably not. 2-5 is obviously not key for Belichick's, first year at head coach. I think next year is going to be a lot better because obviously everybody's going to want to play for Belichick. So I think maybe next year they will be a lot better. I kind of didn't expect much out of this first year. After the TCU game back in week 2, they got blown out. So I kind of saw from there North Carolina wasn't going to be great. But obviously, I like what they did here. Went for the win against a top 15 opponent. You don't see many coaches do that. They go to double OT. Obviously, from seeing here, it was not the right call. But I like the call, even though Belichick has known to be pretty conservative. So, next up, this was a shootout and a comeback that Parker would not have liked. Texas won it 45-38, 24-7 in the fourth quarter. And you just saw through 3 quarters Mississippi State dominant over Arch Manning and the Longhorns. And then Arch Manning, I've been down on him, obviously, these past few weeks with these losses. Now it's 6-2. Watch out for Texas. They're a sneaky team despite being 20th in the nation. Obviously, they've lost a couple games. They're probably going to need to win out. But with all the talent on this Texas team, you can maybe beat anyone. And obviously, losing to the Buckeyes week 1, I feel like that was the main loss for them as they started tumbling. It's the same thing with Penn State. We'll get to them later. But Texas here, it's a great show of resilience despite being down big. And obviously, as soon as Mississippi State got to OT, I knew it was over. Texas had all the momentum. You weren't going to be able to stop them. So, a good win for Texas. We'll see if Arch Manning can keep it up.
This is going to stay on the topic of Arch Manning. Is this Arch Manning's key victory to start getting his confidence back that he had at the start of the season?
I believe it is because Arch has had, he's catching a lot of slander, me included. He's not seemed to win the big game. Obviously, Texas versus Ohio State was the main one, and he was just not able. I think it was more the offensive line in that game, but still, he hasn't been able to win a big game. Obviously, at 6-2, it's a long shot to make the playoffs with that SEC, schedule. So this is a big win for him. And I think for Mississippi State, this might be also a very underrated team. If a couple plays just end a little bit different for Mississippi State, they could be 7-1 and definitely ranked. I think maybe this is the scariest team if you're in SEC because they've been able to compete with Texas. They've been able to compete with Arizona State, which obviously at the time was top 10. They're not ranked anymore. But still, that is pretty good for a 4-4 team, especially putting up 38 against Texas, a very lots of NIL money on this team. So I like what I see at Mississippi State. Weren't able to get the win today. Defensive collapse. Obviously the punt return touchdown as well by Niblett. It comes back to haunt them. Texas wins it by 7. Next one. The Crimson Tide under the lights survive the Gamecocks 29-22. This one, I'm going to be honest, I did not watch this one. I thought it was a bit boring. I was kind of just expecting Bama to pull away, and then they just never did. And this is why I'm a little bit concerned about Bama. Obviously, they're fourth in the nation at 7-1. They've had some key victories. But if you are winning by 7 against a 3-5 Gamecocks team that is just not great in terms of SEC, I think it's a bit scary. Obviously, Bama is a great team. They're fourth in the nation. They're better than my Boise State Broncos by a mile. But once you get to the playoffs, if you play like they played in this game, they're not going to beat any team in the playoffs, I feel like. We'll see if Ty Simpson, he had an off game despite the box score. We'll see how he, continues. But a win for Bama that keeps them in the top 4, possibly a chance at a bye. We'll see how that goes.
Now, Kolstin, like you said, Ty Simpson had a bit of a down game. It's still very impressive in the box score. Is Ty Simpson your vote to win the Heisman?
I think it's a very close race. If I had to say right now, probably. It's not by much. I think there's definitely some more. As the season goes on, we'll see who's going to be the favorite, maybe the close number 2. But as of right now, with how, the loss to Florida State week 1, we thought Bama was going to be just a terrible team, unranked. And they've won 7 straight. And obviously this one isn't showing it really, but, an off-game for him. But still, he shows he can win. He's 7-1, number 4 in the nation after really a lot of teams wrote off Bama. So I think definitely he's going to have to keep it up. I think Bama is a good spot to at least make the SEC championship. We'll see if he can keep it strong, get that bye. But as of right now, I'm not keying on Bama to even make a semifinal game because this is not what you want to see from a good Bama team, really. So we'll see how that goes. Next up, the Sun Devils. This was my sleeper team of the entire year headed into it by Connor Wegman. And once again, he's showing it. A 24-16 win for Houston puts them in the top 25. They are number 22. Despite, this game, they were up 24-0 heading into the fourth, and the Sun Devils, a 16-0 fourth quarter, got them close, but not close enough. Neither quarterback really played great in this one. I'd say Wegman played a little bit better because he did account for ground as well. It doesn't show there, but he did have a good ground game. But obviously, I think Houston, if they can make it into the playoffs, I don't think they'll go very far, but it'll be a win for that program. Especially coming off, I believe they only had 2 wins last season, and they're 7-1. So this is definitely big for this Houston team. I'm a big fan of Houston. I don't live near there. We're in PA, but I like this Houston team.
Now, Kolstin, are Houston big contenders or pretenders?
I'm going to be honest. They haven't versed anyone very big. In the one game they versed someone big, they lost by 3 or 7, I believe. It was a one-possession game. I don't think they're pretenders, but they're definitely going to need to get more impressive wins because this Sun Devils team has been shaky. Obviously, Sam Levet, he came back thinking he would have, a playoff-caliber team with Scadaboo leaving and all that. I love Scadaboo. I'm so sorry for the injury. But obviously, it hasn't gone to fruition. They're 5-3, so we'll see how that goes. But as of right now, I think they're about in the middle. Obviously, 7-1 is great, but you need to get more impressive victories if you're Houston. But I think they have a chance at that Big 12 championship game. We'll see how the season ends for them. Next up, my Boise State Broncos. You don't need to boo me. This one was a bit scary. I know the box score doesn't show it, but I believe we did not score until 5 minutes left in the second quarter. So, obviously, the box score does not represent that. It looks like we dominated, but we really didn't. We didn't dominate very much. Carter Jones is terrible. Sorry to all the Nevada fans, but he's not very good. I'm going to be real. I don't think Maddox wasn't any better. I'm going to be honest. I think we relied on the run game in this one. But, for a 6-2 team, I think Boise State can still make the college football playoffs. This is not a win that shows that, despite winning by 21. Obviously, they're 6-2, but you lost to a South Florida team that just lost to Memphis, which makes me think if we versed Memphis, we'd get blown out. So, I think Boise has to win out. They play Fresno State. We'll talk about that. This was a scary one. I was watching this one instead of the night game. I tuned it off after about the end of the third. So, good win for Boise. Not great though.
Kolstin, would you say right now, in the pecking order of the group of 5 teams, would it go Memphis, USF, then Boise, and plus Army and Navy and North Texas Live in that situation?
I'm going to be honest. If we were to just have, let's say Boise versus all these teams, I don't think they beat Memphis. They may have a chance against North Texas. Obviously, North Texas maybe is the most, confusing team because they haven't versed anybody really good. But they haven't versed anybody bad either. It's just been a bunch of mediocre teams for them. So we'll see. I think Boise, if we were to play like we did in this game, I don't think we beat North Texas. But we've had a couple games. We've been resilient. The South Florida game was not one of those. But if we could have just an okay game, because this was not an okay game, I'll be real, but despite the box score, if we were to just play maybe okay against North Texas, our defense is key. Our defense is way better than our offense. It was the exact opposite last year. My boy, Ashton Genty, was great. I wish we could have him back. Yeah, he should have been the Heisman. But I think if we just have a good defensive game and the offense plays okay, I think we can beat everybody besides Memphis. So take with that what you will. If I had to say, I'd say Memphis, North Texas, Boise, and then Navy. I think that's my top 4. And then I don't really like South Florida. I'll put them at 5. But that's like the top 5.
Do you not like South Florida because they beat you?
Yes, and also because I don't think they're a very good team. I mean, they did, but they blew it against Memphis. So, yeah. Next game. This one is probably the most underrated game in the entirety of the college football slate. Nebraska has been very shaky despite the 6-2 record. I believe every game has been at least a 7-point game for them. And Northwestern, I'm going to pick on Penn State here, beat Penn State and then came into Nebraska and did basically nothing despite the box score, because you can see Preston Stone, legacy game. Dylan Raiola did not play very much better. It looks like he played well. He did not. Neither quarterback played well. Classic Big Ten action, running game. But this one looks close. Nebraska was just kind of in control the entire time. But, I mean, Northwestern, they put up a fight. They're 5-3. Definitely a chance at a bowl game despite winning one game last year. So good for them. But Northwestern needs to play better if they want to win any team, like a Michigan or a Michigan, even Michigan State. They've looked great despite their losses. So.
Now, officially, what? This is year 3 of Dylan Raiola? Year 2?
Year 3, I believe.
Is Dylan Raiola lived up to that?
I'll tell you what, he's no Patrick Mahomes. I'm going to be honest, I think he's way overrated. I'm not a big Dylan Raiola fan because he leaned on his run game a lot in this game. Classic Big Ten action. But I don't think he's that great. I think he can definitely have some good games, but I think this is like his normal game. So, no, I don't even think, like some people say he's like Heisman worthy sometimes. No, I don't. Not even close. I don't think Nebraska isn't a great team despite 6-2. If they were to verse like a Michigan, which they versed earlier, they lost. So
K-Dog is not on the
I'm not on the Dylan Raiola train. I also think, the Mahomes impression needs to go away. So we'll see how that goes. Maybe they can win a couple big games. We'll see. I don't think they will, though. We're going to head into next week. Penn State, Ohio State. If there's one game Penn State could win this season, it's probably this one. I don't know why. It's in the air. They've got no reason to play despite to play for the upset. So, 12 o'clock, 3-4, 0-4. It's two opposite sides of the same coin. Buckeyes are number 1. Penn State's unranked. Obviously, Aller's out for the year. I just think, obviously, on paper, Penn State should just be absolutely tumbled and smoked. So, I don't think that'll happen. I think Penn State definitely has a chance to win, but it's not 12%. I'm going to be honest. I think it's like maybe 4%. If Penn State wins, it's on their running game because Ethan Grunkemeier's not looked great. So
Now, Kolstin, Penn State fan over here behind the camera. 4 to 5 weeks ago, we were talking about Penn State having a trap game against UCLA. Is this a trap game for the Buckeyes?
I definitely think it is. The Buckeyes I think it was Oregon, excuse me. But still, the Buckeyes have not been straight up just dominating really any team. They had against Washington, they were up 7-0 at halftime. And Washington, obviously, they're not a bad program. I'm a big Washington fan as well. There's a couple teams. We'll talk about it. But I don't think the Buckeyes, despite being number 1, have really been that impressive. There's really no college team that's really been that impressive. I'm going to be honest. But 7-0 at halftime against Washington. If Penn State can play their the stellar performance that they can with Singleton and Allen, if they can just play up to the Buckeyes' pace, which we've seen for a couple years, but obviously Franklin hasn't been able to win the big game, but he's gone. So, I think I think this is a trap game for sure. If this was in Penn State, it would be if this odds thing would probably be at 25% for Penn State, and I would agree. But I just think in Buckeye Stadium, it's just going to be a little bit too much. Despite Penn State, this is a big rivalry. That's why it's first. But yeah, I just think the atmosphere is going to be too much. If Penn State can have a good running game, I think they have a chance. If that running game does not sustain, I think they're probably not going to have a close game. We'll see. That one's at 12 o'clock on Fox. I feel like Fox always gets Penn State, Ohio State. This is Oklahoma's bounce back game. I think this is the most important game for both these sides on the entire season. Both teams with 2 losses. The 18th ranked Sooners head to the 14th ranked Volunteers. This Tennessee team was about 1 play away from beating Bama, so I think they're definitely going to win this game. I think Tennessee's going to win it, especially in Tennessee. Oklahoma, either way, whoever loses this game is out of the playoffs for sure. So we'll see who can win this one. This is a very important game. This will likely come down to a game-winning field goal, but this is a night game, so we'll see who wins this one. It says, even right here, the headline, why Tennessee versus Oklahoma is a must-win for both teams. So, yeah.
Must win for both teams, and I think both teams are going to know that. How much is the crowd for Tennessee going to have to step up, and how much is John Mateer going to have to deal with that crowd? Because Tennessee is
No, definitely not.
fans. They have over 100,000 fans there at Ball Stadium.
I just think it's going to be a matter of momentum. This just feels like a momentum game to me. If Oklahoma, whoever it is, whoever starts with the ball first, I think whoever scores first in this game is going to get the win. Tennessee, Oklahoma, they've had a lot of close games. SEC action, Oklahoma joining the SEC. This is a true test for both teams. They both lost critical games. They both won critical games. Oklahoma, obviously, one of them beating Michigan. Tennessee losing to Bama. This is the most important game for both these squads, because if you lose, you're outside of the top 25. You have 3 SEC losses. There's basically no chance you make the college football playoffs. So,
If you had to say who needed to win this more,
Oklahoma, for sure. Coming off the loss, you can't lose 2 straight because that kills all momentum. At least with Tennessee, despite being 6-2, both their games have been close, especially that Bama game, which I watched. That was a great game. But this is going to be the most important game for both these teams, especially Oklahoma. They could be 5-3 despite that Michigan game, but they got that win. But obviously, both these teams at 6-2, incredibly critical game. $250. That's crazy to me, but we're going to head to the next one. North Texas. I was talking about this one. This is another big one for the Power 5. This is crazy to me. 78% for North Texas.
I just noticed this. I'd like to point out the over-under for this game.
Yeah, this does not correlate like at all. If I'm thinking this, I'm thinking like 13.5. But
I'd like to point out the over 63.5.
yeah, that's kind of. I don't think it's gonna be over 63.5. Now I would say this is my game of the week out of all these games for college football. Navy has looked incredible. They've had some great comebacks. I'm a bit worried if Navy wins this game that we will make the playoffs, because after this game, Navy has a cakewalk of the schedule. So this is going to be a good one. It's going to be Navy's defense versus North Texas's offense for sure. We'll see who comes out on top. My pick is North Texas, hopefully, at least for us. But if Navy wins this one, they got a high chance to make the playoffs.
Yeah, Kolstin, I was going to, it's kind of based on what you're saying. But does the winner of this game jump to the favorite as the group of 5?
I definitely think they do, because Boise has 2 losses.
What about Memphis?
The only team that really has a chance to make the playoffs over these 2 is Memphis. But I believe with Memphis having a loss, if Navy wins this game, they are the favorite. So we'll see how that goes. Navy's had some great wins. They're 7-0 for a reason, 5-0 in conference play. This is an American game in the American Conference, so this is a big one.
About this game. If say Navy were to go 12 or 11-1,
Mm-hmm.
right? They do have that extra Army-Navy game. And if Army does beat Navy, could that possibly kick them out of the college football playoffs?
I think it definitely could. Obviously, we're not going to talk about Army in this one, but I mean, every single year that game is close. Usually Navy does come out on top, But, I mean, if Navy has one loss, it doesn't matter from who. Maybe it's from North Texas. If they lose that game and they have one loss and then they get two, I think that definitely boots them out because it's a very tight race. Memphis, Boise, to just name a few. Hopefully Boise makes it. I'd love that. But, yeah, if you lose two, I genuinely think if you lose two games in the Power 5, like, conference, all that, if you lose two games, you're likely out, unless we all lose two games. So we'll see about that. I think if everybody were to lose two games, I think Memphis would get in, which I'm fine with. But we'll see how it shakes up. That one's also at 12 on ESPN2. This is my sleeper game of the week on college football. So next one. This is my personal favorite team besides Boise is SMU. That's why it's on here. This one's at 12 o'clock on ESPN. Miami is a very shaky team from these past 2 weeks. Obviously, the loss to Louisville, who's now proving to be a pretty good team. But they're coming off a Stanford game that they headed into the fourth. I believe it was a 3-point game. So I'd smash the 12.5 spread on SMU. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, if that's my betting pick, smash that. But we'll see. SMU has looked very shaky as well. They are 5-3, so they're not making the playoffs. But if SMU can win this game, I think Miami is like the biggest fraud, besides maybe like Texas, Penn State. Obviously, Penn State is, they lost to Northwestern and UCLA, so, But, I mean, Miami has not looked great these past 2 weeks. They've looked very beatable. And SMU, if they can just ride just like a high streak of maybe like a couple drives, a couple stops, I think they maybe can blow out Miami because Carson Beck has not looked great these past 2 weeks. Miami's running game cannot get going. So we'll see. Yeah, smash that 12.5. That's crazy to me. I don't think Miami's winning by 10. So.
Kolstin, obviously Kevin Jennings heading into this year was one of the best quarterbacks in college football. I think everybody could decipher that.
Mm-hmm.
If Kevin Jennings pulls off the win, does he launch himself possibly into the Heisman hunt?
No, I don't think he does. He's had a couple iffy games, especially at 5-3. I don't remember exactly what game. I can't remember who they played, but I watched a CW game. I forgot they were even streaming games for this year. So shout out to the CW. But he versed somebody. It was a high scoring game, but SMU lost, and Jennings threw 2 touchdowns to 1 pick, and they scored 35 points. He did not have any rushing touchdowns either. So I don't think if he wins this game, it's going to put him, maybe NFL draft. Maybe takes a look at him, but not Heisman. I don't think he has any chance for the Heisman. He's got I think it's like 14 touchdowns to 9 picks. That's Jameis Winston type numbers. That's not going to win you anything. Especially with, 3 losses already on a team that made the college football playoffs last year. Granted, they did get smoked by Penn State. I was at that game. I would know. But, yeah, I don't think Jennings is a Heisman favorite. Nah, it's fine. Boise State. Smash Fresno State as well. It's not going to be a 17-point game. Anyway, we'll talk about the game. This is an incredibly important game for Fresno. 92% is crazy. That gets me worried that ESPN's just a fraud. I hope they're right. But Boise's 4-0 in conference play. So I feel like if we win this game, we do make the Mountain West championship. But we have 2 losses already. One of them to a South Florida team that doesn't look that good anymore. So that's a bit worrying. They did beat me. But we'll see what happens. This is my I'm the most worried about this game. I was looking at the schedule. It's that we beat I don't remember. I should remember, but I don't remember. It wasn't Mountain West. That's good. We're coming off a win against UNLV and Nevada. Obviously, Nevada wasn't that impressive, but the UNLV game was impressive. The defense didn't look great, which was our shining spot. So we'll see. This is an incredibly important game for Boise, also for Fresno. But Fresno needs to win out and some teams to lose to make the Mountain West championship. Yeah, but I don't think Boise. The Mountain West is just kind of a mediocre kind of conference besides Boise this year. So I think if they win this, they make the Mountain West championship. But we'll see. 17.5 is crazy, though. I think it may be a 10-point game at most. So we're going to. Yeah, that is. Yes, smash that. That's crazy to me. We're sticking to the Big Ten now. 5-2. This is maybe an entirely sleeper team. USC at 23 coming off the loss to Notre Dame. They take on 6-2 Nebraska. 6.5-point favorites to open for USC. This could go one of two ways, especially in Nebraska. USC could blow them out because I don't believe in Dylan Raiola in the slightest. Or Nebraska wins in a close game. I think that's like the only two scenarios. I'm going to be real. Dylan Raiola just does not look great. Tickets as low as $6-7. I think that's what he was pointing at. But this is a night game once again for USC on NBC. Sorry, advertisement. I think Nebraska definitely has a chance, but they're going to need some turnovers once again. We've seen so far, I'm blanking on the quarterback's name for USC, but in that Notre Dame game, he threw some iffy balls. He also had some great balls. So I think they could have won that. If they win that Notre Dame game, they definitely are a playoff contender, but they lost. So we'll see.
Exactly my question. If USC wins this game, I believe they have Oregon left on their schedule. That's going to be a tough game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not 100% sure on that. But if USC can win out, they're contenders for the playoffs.
I just think this USC team, I feel like the committee, even if they were to win out besides Oregon, 3 losses is too much.
Especially with how many 2-loss teams are in the SEC.
Yeah, there's so many 2-loss teams. I just don't think of all the teams, they're going to look at USC and go, ooh, we should put them in the playoffs. Especially if USC loses this game. Then Nebraska overtakes them. You know how I feel about Nebraska. So, I think USC, it's either a blowout or a close Nebraska win. I just don't think Dylan Raiola will get it done. So, we'll see. That's a night game. I feel like USC has had 4 night games. I don't know about you. I think they have yeah, but we'll see how that goes. Next up, this is another incredibly sleeper game. While some people are going to be sleeping at 10:15. Cincinnati is possibly the biggest shock of the entirety of the college football world without Sauce Gardner, might I add. So it might be 2021 all over again. This, I don't know why, I'm getting flashbacks. This Cincinnati team reminds me of the UCF team that went undefeated. Obviously, they're not undefeated, but they play the exact same, almost identical. Now, might I add, this is either going to be it's going to be a blowout. I don't know who's winning because Utah has looked shaky the past few weeks, but it's going to be either a blowout or for either side. 20% is crazy to me. This should be 50-50, especially with Utah looking shaky at times. Obviously, this is what doesn't make any sense. Cincinnati is higher in the rankings than Utah, and they're not a favorite. I don't understand that, but yeah, I don't understand that. 9.5. I would not smash the 9.5 because they might get blown out. I don't know how this one's gonna go.
Sorry to interrupt you here, but does the winner of this game possibly move on to the Big 12 championship, especially if Cincinnati wins?
I think if Cincinnati wins, I think they do go to the Big 12 championship, most likely against BYU. That would be a good one. Don't count on Houston. That's my sleeper team. But if this is more of a must-win for Utah than it is for Cincy, because Cincy's 5-0 in conference play. Utah has 2 losses in conference play. So Houston and BYU. So this is, Utah as I think they are top 10 in NIL money for their roster. So this is so far a big disappointment, especially almost out of the top 25. You lose this game, you have no chance at the playoffs. So Cincy, Utah, 10-15. Do not smash the spread. 20% for Cincy. Yeah, I will be not watching this game. I'm going to be real. It's on here, but 10-15. That's crazy. It's not, but I will not be watching this. I'll be doing something else. We're going to head to NFL action. This was on Sunday. Tyler Huntley, my 32-man hero. He played great. Caleb Williams is still trash. I'm never going to be on the Caleb Williams train. The Ravens won it 30-16. This was a must-win game for Baltimore. Now, I will be honest. They have a cakewalk schedule the rest of the year with Lamar coming back. I genuinely think they can finish 12-5. But, I mean, with how slow this Baltimore team has started, especially on the year at 2-5, they're not going to, a lot of these teams are going to look at them and think they're a pushover. So, especially with the Bears at 4-3. The most fraudulent 4-2 team like last year. But, Now, I don't think that will happen, but I do think they're going to finish like 6-11. So, I just think this is a big win for the Ravens team. This game was not close until like the fourth quarter. It was 16-6 heading into the fourth, and then I believe Baltimore scored again. Caleb Williams just can't win he wins against these bad teams, and then he versus a mediocre Baltimore team and loses by 14. I don't think he's very good. I always thought Jaden Daniels was better out of the draft. So, shows here.
Kolstin, with Baltimore winning, Cincinnati, Cleveland, and Pittsburgh all losing, are the Ravens back in the hunt?
I looked at their schedule. I think they can win the North 1,000%. Because Pittsburgh, this, we'll talk about it later. That was probably their make or break game for Pittsburgh because they were, are they pretenders or are they contenders? It looks like they're pretenders, especially with the defense, the most money spent on it, and they're 30th. I think that's, Pittsburgh's known for their defense, and they're not even putting that up anymore. We'll get to it. But, Baltimore winning this one is very big, and all three of the teams losing. The Browns was, sorry Browns fans, but you're not making the playoffs. I think we knew that before the year. Yeah, I don't think they're very good. The only team that scares me a little is Cincy, but they just lost to the Jets. We'll talk about that. So, good for the Jets. We will talk about them. This was a must-win game also for Houston, and they got the win. I think San Fran is a fraud. Mac Jones, he's been looking great. This one was not that great. He didn't even hit 200 yards. C.J. Stroud has been on the down slump. This was a good bounce-back game for him. He needed this, especially, the game script, they were up basically the entire time, and they still passed it. That's why I like to see out D'Amico Ryans. You want to just keep your foot on the gas pedal, because these past few games against, Seattle, they've been trying to get that run game going with Nick Chubb and Woody Marks, but it just hasn't been working, and that's what's losing them games. They would run it on 2nd and 8, and it would get them a yard, so they'd be behind the sticks. George Kittle, appreciation week, he's back, and he scores, a touchdown, so there has been some Titans that did great this week, but this is a big game for the Texans, especially with the Colts looking just phenomenal. I don't know how that's happening, but, Jonathan Taylor's an MVP. Daniel Jones is Indiana Jones. Good for the Colts. Indiana Jones. Yeah, I don't know how they're doing that, but good for them.
The 49ers, I believe, are sitting at the 7th seed. They're just on the cusp of it. Do you think, with how easy their schedule is, but how they've been looking, do you think they'll be able to hold on to that 7th spot?
I definitely think they will make the playoffs. The question is, they're not making the 5 seed. I think there's going to be some team. It might be like Detroit or the Packers who gets the 5 seed. I think they're going to be the 6th or 7th seed. Laugh all you want. But we're getting a call. But I think the main thing here is that San Fran needs this win, and they didn't get it. So obviously Brock Purdy soon to return. That's a big one. But the Texans dominated this game the entire way through. Doesn't matter what San Fran did. They just felt outplayed. So it's a good one for the Texans. They need this one. But they're 3-4 still, so they're still below 500. They need some key wins. Here come the Jets. I hate watched the Bengals in this game. I'm not even gonna lie. I headed into the third. I watched them up until the third quarter, and I turned it off. That was a bad idea. That was a bad idea. Justin Fields, this was easily his best game. Breece Hall outplayed him with the passing touchdown alone. But
Can I throw you a statistic here?
you can.
In 7 games, out of all the quarterbacks who have played 7 games, only one quarterback has not thrown an interception. Guess who it is?
I've got a feeling it's Justin Fields.
JF1. Listen, as much when he was the quarterback for the Bears, I didn't like him, but now that he's on the Bears, I can say he's one of my favorites.
I think they gave up. They were going to start Tyrod Taylor for this game. He was out with an injury. They have not committed to who the starting quarterback is. I think they gave up on Fields too quick. I always thought Fields should have stayed at Pittsburgh. I thought he was fine there. I still believe Justin Fields can be a great quarterback. The problem is that they're 1-7, and their team is not, the greatest. They're definitely going for pick 1. I would not be shocked if the Jets try and move on from Fields. I feel a bit bad for him because he had a great game. It doesn't show it here with only one touchdown. He feels like a Sam Darnold once again. So, Flacco played a great game up until the fourth quarter. Then he just started trying to throw to Jamar like every single play. Good for your fantasy team. But, I think Fields it definitely outplayed Flacco, despite what the box score says, because he did have a rushing touchdown. Breece Hall single-handedly saved my fantasy team, so good for me and you. But this was a great game. This was a great game. This was not a great game up until the fourth. Reminded me of the Broncos game a lot, Giants Broncos. But Jets, good for them. They got to win. I didn't think they'd go winless. I thought they'd be like 5-12.
I'd say coming into this season that they're 2.
So.
They proved me wrong.
So far, yeah. They verse the Titans soon, so we'll see how that goes. Speaking of the Broncos, this was my game of the week, and Dak Prescott played terrible. So the Cowboys lose. Once again, it's the defense just doing nothing. They did not stop Denver all game, despite the third quarter. But I think by the not even halfway through the fourth, the Broncos had their backups in. That's how you know it's bad. Joe Mellon had a really good touchdown. Obviously, he's not showing on here, but I had him as a backup in the 32-man, just in case. Bo Nix played great. I'm still hating on Bo Nix because I am a Chargers fan, but Dale would not be happy. But I don't think Bo Nix is really that good. I think he's a product of his environment. I think he's like a Brock Purdy, except a slightly better Brock Purdy. So, good for them. They're 6-2. They could be 7-1 if not for a flag. I don't know. I just don't think this Broncos team's very good.
Now, Kolstin, obviously during this game, Patrick Surtain the second, got injured 2 different times. One was for his leg, one was his shoulder. He's scheduled to miss 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, that's.
How big of an impact is that going to be for this Broncos defense, which has been one of the best in the league all year?
For my fantasy team, I hope they're fine. Realistically, the Broncos versus the Chiefs twice, the Chargers once, I believe, in the next 4 weeks. I think all 3 of those are losses. I'm not going to lie. Maybe biased Chargers fan here. But I don't know. I just don't know what to expect from the Broncos. They're 6-2, but they feel like a 4-4 team. I don't know. They've been winning. Obviously, 44 points is great, but Dallas is dead last in defense. So I don't think that's very impressive. Dak absolutely sold this game. He started out great, and then he just threw to the defense twice. So this game was never close. It was 27 to 10.5.
Kolstin, I don't know if throwing an interception on your opening drive is starting out great.
Yeah, I don't. Dak did not look great, and people say he's MVP. Yeah, I don't know about that one. Next one. Here's your Jordan. It's Rodgers' return to take on Green Bay, a chance to take down all 32 teams. Me and Aaden went to this game. May I just say, through the first 3 quarters, it was actually, I'd say, by about halfway through the third quarter, it was looking pretty rough. It was 16-7. They scored a touchdown late in that third quarter, headed into the fourth quarter, and then it was basically over. We headed into the fourth, and the Packers just absolutely dominated. Jordan Love, despite all I say about his inconsistency, played great. He played like Mahomes level good when he's at his peak. Tucker Kraft is a beast. I can't deny it anymore. He might be, through the season so far, the best tight end in the entirety of the league, besides maybe Trey McBride. But Rodgers, despite the box score, played absolutely awful in the second half. I think out of the 12 incompletions he had, I think 10 of them were in the second half. And, I mean, keep in mind, this box score looks great, but he was dinking and dunking the entirety of the game. The only deep ball he had was to Roman Wilson for 45 yards, and that was at the very beginning of the game. So, I think the Steelers are pretenders for sure, especially with 4-3 record. Their schedule doesn't get any easier. I think the second half is harder than the first half. This was a must-win game for the Steelers, not necessarily for the Packers. It was a great one for them. But, we were there. We were at the Steelers game, and the Packers fans were louder than Steelers fans. Rodgers said after the game, maybe this is a bit of a lie because he has a soft spot for the Packers fans, but he said he had to use a hard count. I don't know why he... Yeah. Yeah. I don't know why he would have to lie about that, but if that is true, Steelers fans are in shambles. So I think Pittsburgh is destined for a 10-7 and a chance out the wild card. Tomlin might be on the hot seat. I'm not entirely sure. I just think Tomlin, he feels like James Franklin. He just can't win a big. I mean, this was a pretty big game. It wasn't extremely big because there is some bigger games down the stretch, but I mean, they just were not playing great, and they lost this one by 10. We'll see. If Love can play consistent, I definitely think he can win basically any game. Do I think the Packers make the Super Bowl? No. Do I think they could? Absolutely. So we'll see how that goes. I don't think they're the favorite to win the NFC either, but yeah, I think Detroit is definitely a better team despite this win. I think they caught Detroit on a bad week. So I think they caught Detroit on a bad week. I think if Detroit and Green Bay were play right now, it's whoever has the momentum in the beginning of the game is going to win it. Obviously, last time that was Green Bay. We'll see what happens. So usually Green Bay melts down at week 1, and they won that one. So we're going to head into next week. This is a must-win game. Once again, Lamar is finally slated to return. I'm going to be honest, he probably won't. I don't think he will. I even think with Tyler Huntley, the Baltimore could definitely win this game. This is going to be another game that's going to be it's going to be a blowout for one side. I don't know who it's going to be. I feel like it's going to be Baltimore because Miami is probably the most dumpster fire of a team I've ever seen in my entire life, despite the 2-6 record. I keep hating on Cleveland Browns fans, but they lost to the Cleveland Browns, people. That's pretty bad. It wasn't even close either. That was pretty bad. Yeah, I don't think this. I think Mike McDaniel should be fired already. If Mike McDaniel loses his game, his salary better be ripped in half. So, yeah, I think both. If Lamar is back for this game, it's a blowout. It's not going to be close. He would be the difference. I don't even think it'd be close if Lamar's back. If Tyler Huntley is here, despite what I saw last week, I mean, he definitely could be shaky. I think Miami's defense is terrible, so I don't think it'll matter. I got Derrick Henry on my fantasy team. Hopefully he does well. But I just don't think it'll be close. Thursday night, I mean, if Baltimore wins this one, they got momentum, especially with the win last week against Chicago. Granted, I said Caleb Williams. He's not great, so I don't think that matters. But yeah, I mean, look at the passes. 231 passes. And Miami has some of the top, solo tackles in the league. It just shows they're not a great team. They cannot stop basically anyone, not even Cleveland. So,
Kolstin, one last question about this game. The last time these two played on Thursday night in Miami, we had an offensive line that nearly.
if we could get that again, I'd feel great. Anyway.
Yeah, that's it.
If they blitz 37 times every single play and it works, maybe.
Pittsburgh threw a swing pass to an offensive line.
They've done that 2 weeks in a row. One of the games they won, one of the games they lost. So I shouldn't have said that. Yeah, I don't think this is going to be close. One team's going to blow out the other. It's going to be Baltimore. I would say don't bet on this just in case. But I also think bet the under. I think that's crazy, 15.5. But this should probably be 75-25 Baltimore. I think Miami's terrible. This might be the worst team in the entirety of the NFL besides Tennessee. I think if Miami and the Jets were to play, I think the Jets win. I think Miami's really bad. I think the only team that's worse is Tennessee. So Chargers play Tennessee. That's not on here. I hope we win. Next game. This is my sleeper NFL game of the week. Despite what you see, obviously Penix says he's out. He should return for this game. Despite the not stellar stats for Penix, I think he's a pretty good quarterback. I think on paper Atlanta should definitely lose this game, but it's a rematch of 28-3. I'm sorry, Falcons fans. I really wanted you to win that. Yeah, that was really bad. I am maybe the one person in the entirety of the planet who is not a believer in Drake May. I don't think Drake May is bad. Maybe it's just my Patriots hate. But I don't think Drake May is bad. I think he's just Jordan Love before this year, in which he's inconsistent despite the stat line. He's had a lot of garbage time touchdowns. He might have the most in the entirety of the NFL. The Patriots are 6-2. They beat a Bills team that was great. That was Drake May's one good game. I think I stand by that. That was his one good game. If Bijan can carve up the Patriots defense, I think they do win this game. I think the Falcons should honestly be favored, not here. I think they should be favored here. I do think it will be close. I do think the Patriots lose this. This is the one that I'm.
Now,
This is my Kolstin guarantee right here. I think the Falcons win this game.
the key is for obviously Bijan to get in the ground game a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Well, your fun fact of the NFL slate is through 8 weeks in the NFL season, the Patriots have not allowed a running back to get 50 yards all year.
I just think that's obviously. I don't think they versed great running backs all year. Besides maybe James Cook, Bijan is a different breed. That man is crazy to me. Yeah, you would know. He's on his fantasy team. Oh my God, Bijan. I could say a lot of things about Bijan. He might be my favorite player in the entirety of the league, besides Herbert. I've been talking a while. Well, we'll see. But this is my sleeper game in terms of the NFL slate. I think the Falcons win this. If the Patriots win, it is going to be blowout. If Penix doesn't play, I think the Falcons definitely lose because Kirk Cousins did not look great last week. So we'll see how that goes. Next one. Oh boy, Pittsburgh, you're gonna need this one. I'm not gonna lie. Rodgers looked not that great. Matt Moore just came through. I don't know why I needed to mention that. You guys don't even know who that is. Jonathan Taylor might be the MVP favorite. This man, this duo right here is the most shocking duo of the entirety of the NFL. 13-3 for Daniel Jones at 2,000 yards is absolutely bonkers. I thought this team was gonna go 2-15. So the fact they're 7-1 is just
I'd like to.
it's crazy.
Point out, Jonathan Taylor is on pace for 28 rushing touchdowns.
It's just that's crazy. I just traded him away in fantasy. I'm starting to regret that after last week. I did get Saquon and he played great. But the Colts are favored at 2.5. If the Steelers do not score immediately, smash this. Absolutely. Get your whips out. Just go to town. This is criminal for the Colts. The 40% for Pittsburgh, criminal. Colts should be favored by like 95 based on what I saw last. Not 95, like maybe like 80. But that's crazy to me. If Pittsburgh does not start out quick, they're not winning this game, and it's not going to be close because the Colts, they're the surprise in the NFL, obviously. But 7-1.
Are the Colts the best team in the league?
I think they genuinely are. That scares me.
Colts and the Packers are the only two teams with one loss.
The Packers were a second away from 2 losses. I don't think they're even making. They're not making.
We were 2 non-blocks away from being 7-0.
Yeah, I don't think. I just don't think they're gonna win it all. But the Colts might. This is crazy to me. 7-1. They could be 8-1.
What is this, 09?
Yeah, it really might be 09. So, Colts to the bowl. Next one. This is a big one for the Texans once again. I think this is if Broncos lose this game, I think the momentum just plummets. I'm not gonna lie. Plus, Texans are favored, especially it's like 50-50, despite the records. Yeah.
Kolstin, Nico Collins, obviously, I think top 10 receiver in the league without any question. Obviously, Pat Surtain being out. How big is Riley Moss going to have to step up into this game to guard Nico Collins?
I think the biggest thing here for the Broncos, especially with Surtain out, you need to play zone, and you need to hope your safeties are just, excellent. I don't think it really comes down to Riley Moss. I think they're going to double-team Nico the entire time. The question, I think, for the Texans, if they want to win this game, and we've said it all year, they need to have a run game, and they need to have a wide receiver, too, that plays well. Obviously, Tank Dell is out for the entire year, most likely, unless he comes back in the playoffs.
I feel so bad for him.
Yeah, that was...
He's looked so good.
He was so good. I miss my Tank Dell. But I also miss my J.K. Dobbins Chargers fan here. But I think the Texans, if they win this game, they are back in the playoff hunt for sure. They're at home. They're 2-1 at home.
1 o'clock game on Fox.
Yep, 1:00 game. This is the one I probably watch at 1:00. If we can. That's true. All right, for some reason, PA just wants to show Philly and Pittsburgh, and that is it. Nobody else. But this is a big one for both sides. If the Broncos lose this game, they genuinely have a chance to go to 6-6. I'm not gonna lie.
Maybe even after that
This is why I don't want you to be the cameraman. Anyway, yeah, this is a big one for both sides. I do think the Texans win this one. I don't believe in the Broncos like at all. That's also true.
How much of this is being a Chargers fan?
I think it's like 50-50 is being a Chargers fan and also projections. But yeah, I don't believe in Denver at all. So we'll see how this one shakes up. Here we go again. Chiefs Bills, you know how this one goes. It's a rivalry. It's the biggest rivalry possibly in the entirety of the NFL. So 425. Sadly, it's gonna be not Chris Collinsworth.
I don't know, Jim.
Yeah, it's gonna be those Tony Romo. I think it's just boy. But yeah, this one I might just avoid because of that. The Chiefs. I'm not. Yeah, I'm really not. I'm not gonna avoid it. But I think the main thing here for this is more important, I think, for the Bills than for the Chiefs. Because the Chiefs... Actually, no, it is more important for the Chiefs for sure. Chiefs are favored, first of all. This is after the Monday night game in which they beat Washington. So, yeah, this is a big one for both sides. This might be for the 1 seed. Mahomes has stepped it up. The running game is non-existent for KC, unless if Kareem Hunt wants to steal another goal line touchdown. But, James Cook, besides that Sunday night game against the Patriots, he's looked great. Josh Allen has been, despite the stat line, he's had a lot of garbage time touchdowns. Mahomes has looked great, which I hate, but whatever.
Who is this a bigger game for? Obviously Kansas City.
I think...
If Buffalo loses this game, they fall a game behind.
I think genuinely,
This is both teams.
this is the biggest game for both teams probably on the entire schedule. But besides maybe the Bills against the Patriots again, if the Bills lose this game, I don't think they lose their division. They need to beat the Patriots to win their division again. But if the Chiefs lose this game, obviously they're 5-4, so that's not great through 9 or 10 weeks. But yeah, this is a big game for both sides. This could be for the 1 seed. I think
Indiana Jones.
despite the Colts, I can't believe in the Colts yet. I think I need just like one more big win, but we'll see. This is another good one. Jaden Daniels is back. I love Jaden Daniels. Seattle is undefeated at away. I think that might be the most surprising stat in the entirety of the NFL because this Seattle team, I'm still not on the Sam Darnold train.
I just don't like Seattle. I just don't think.
They don't have that spark besides JSN.
They don't pop off the charts.
They just don't. I agree.
Games by a lot.
The one game I remember them watching was week 1. It was Seattle versus Pittsburgh. And they won that game because of some technicalities, like the kickoff for a touchdown and all that. So, do I think Washington wins this game? Probably not. I'm going to be real. I think Seattle's defense is going to be a little bit too much. Especially, this is going to be like 17-14. This is going to be a snooze fest of a game. But I think Washington definitely has a chance to win because they just lost.
Washington's favorite. According to the matchup predictor.
But they're not favored in the spread. Yeah, I don't understand that. But does Seattle win this game? Probably. It's a bigger game for Washington for sure. Also, this is Sunday night. This needs to be flexed to like a 1 o'clock game. I'm gonna be real. But
Why don't we have Chiefs Bills?
yeah, why don't we have Chiefs Bills on Sunday night? Whatever, it's fine. But this is a big one for both sides. I think the running game is gonna be the difference. We got Bill on Washington's side and Kenneth Walker who gets vultured at the goal line. But we'll see. Daniel's over only 1,000 yards. Obviously, he's been injured. Darnold just hasn't looked great despite the box score. We'll see how it goes. That's Sunday night. It might get flexed, but we'll see. It might be too late to flex. And then Monday night, the Cowboys are technically undefeated at home. I don't know. This might be the one you just avoid. Maybe spend some time with your family. Yeah, unless you want to fly out all the way to Dallas, which I'll pass. But
I have a question. What is the point total Dak has to leave the Cowboys still to be safe?
I genuinely think it might be like 20.
20?
Probably not 20. Not 20. I do think this is a really, really, really big game for the Cardinals. I cannot stress that enough. They have lost about every single game by like 6-7 points. But but the Cardinals have just not been. Neither of these teams have blown me away. I think the Cowboys are definitely better than the Cardinals, especially with Kyler Murray, the top rusher for the Cardinals. Obviously, Cardinal got hurt, but still. We'll see how this one shakes out. I think Dallas will win, probably more by 2.5. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think the Cardinals are that great, but I mean, Kyler Murray, 6 touchdowns to 3 picks. Obviously, he did miss some time, but still, that's not great at all. So we'll see how that one shakes out. We're going to head to MLB action. Obviously, there's only one game, but this might be the best game you see in this entirety of this thing. 18 innings. That's ridiculous. Freddie Freeman might be the most I don't. He might be the most clutch player in MLB history. He just. I don't understand how Toronto lost this game. You had so. It goes for both sides. But the fact this went to 18 innings, you see, nobody scored in 8 innings. That's crazy to me. 10 innings. But Shohei Ohtani might be the best player in the entirety of just sports. I'm not even going to lie. That's not Glaze. He's really good. Yeah, I don't even know. I don't know how to explain this game other than you should have watched it, man. Obviously, it was 4. Yeah, but both teams had so many chances. I think Toronto is going to lose the series. Speaking of, here you go.
All right, here's my question. Right now, if you had to pick the greatest player in all of baseball, do you put it on number 7?
No, I don't think. I think Ohtani is like incredible. He's on pace for sure. I'm a little bit weak on my baseball knowledge, folks. So, but I don't know, Babe Ruth maybe, I don't know. But
Babe Ruth was hitting 80. This guy's hitting 102.
I think Ohtani is probably. I might get exposed as a fraud. I think he's top 10 ever, obviously already. But you need to win this series for sure for the Dodgers because they've got so much firepower. This is the problem with the MLB. Sorry to get off topic, but they need a salary cap. This is just unfair. But this is a big one. Ohtani is pitching in this one, so that's going to be a big difference. I feel like.
How long you're thinking this game might have already started by the time you're finished on it?
Yeah, it might. But we'll talk about the Penguins later. But this is a big one for Toronto. Obviously, they're in LA. Toronto should have won the last one. They blew it. I mean, they had the lead multiple times. This is the biggest game of the entirety of the World Series because if the Dodgers go up 3-1, it's likely over. We'll see how that goes. That's the one MLB game. I just wanted to include that because 18 innings is wild. Also that too. The 76ers. This might be the best 76ers team I have ever seen. Obviously, I don't think the Sixers are a great team. I think they can be better, but they're 3-0. This one was in dominating fashion despite the field goal percentage. VJ Edgecombe is 10,000 times better than Cooper Flag. I don't know. The Sixers have looked pretty good. This was a 12-point win, so it doesn't really show. But they were able to stop Broncaro. You get my point. Yeah. The three-pointer was not on target for the Magic. Obviously, we shot more threes, and we had a higher percentage. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander team. But, yeah, it was a good one for Philly. I don't really know how to explain it. Yeah, probably. And I haven't played basketball in 4 years, so. Next for the Sixers, they should start 4-0. They versus Washington. Washington. I just think they're incredibly bad, so I call them Washington. I just call them Washington because I think they're very bad. I have no clue if the injury report's right, but apparently George and Embiid are out, so we'll see. Yeah, so. That's going to be a very big game. Obviously, they already did beat Boston, but Boston's looking for revenge. Smash the spread. I think Washington wins by more than 3.5. Or Philly, excuse me. I think Philly wins by more than 3.5. This doesn't make any sense to me. 34% in a 3-point. Whatever. I don't really care. But If Washington wins, I'm going to be very disappointed. I think Philly definitely wins. We'll see. We're going to head to the NHL. There's a lot less of we're more football people, so we'll see. The Penguins, despite this being a 6-3 final, didn't look that impressive. I'm going to be real. Obviously, the third period was the big difference, but they were up 1 and the Blues pulled their goalie. So, and then they scored 2 more. So I don't think it was really that impressive of a win. But Crosby notched his 1,700th point in this one, so that was cool. Brian Rust might be better than Crosby at this point. I think not all time, I mean in this season, because Rust has looked great to start the season. But Crosby, obviously very good. We're Penguins fans, so we're not going to talk about the Blues. But 7-2-1, they probably should be 8-1-1, but, whatever. And then we all... I figured that was coming. The Phillies are coming. The Phillies. Oh my goodness. Yeah, the Phillies lost. The Flyers are coming off a shootout win over the Islanders. The Islanders might be the most disappointing team in the entirety of the NHL. But 4-3 victory. Not much going on here. It was a good game. I didn't watch it, I'll be real, but I saw the highlights. It's a good game for the Flyers because next up, we've got a PA battle. Penguins Flyers. I think the Penguins definitely do win this. So I think the Penguins do win this. Philly's favored. This was before the game started. I don't think they're favored anymore, I'm going to be honest. But 35 seats for... Or 35 seats. $35 for a seat in a PA battle. I think that's pretty good. I think the Penguins... I was going to say whoever scores first is likely going to win. Okay. Well... I think the Penguins should win this one based off record, but the Flyers have had the Penguins' number the past few years, so... And... Yeah. We will see who wins this one, but that will do it. That's 36 slides. I forget what I even called this. It's been a while. I think I've been talking for like an hour. So, that's it. Yeah, this was my yap session. We might shorten it down next time, so... That's going to be the MC report. I believe that's what it's called, name pending. We'll see you guys next time. It's either going to be Monday or Tuesday because I don't know if when I do it Monday or Tuesday, but we'll figure it out. That's it.